Hey, how you doing? So in this video, I want to talk to you about how to create a high-ticket coaching program. My name is Matthew White. I'm the founder of Coach Launch. And just to preface this video, I'd just like to include these few facts. Over the last 10 years, I've spent more than $263,000 on training and coaching. I've bought a ton of high-ticket programs, firstly, to self-educate, and secondly, to understand the dynamics of what it takes to create a high-ticket program. Now, we have two successful businesses, one where we coach and consult in the real estate space, and one where we coaching and consulting businesses to get to that $100,000 per month mark. Currently, we sell packages and the starting point is $15,000, which I consider reasonably high ticket. Then we sell a package for $25K, which is, I call platinum ticket, high ticket, and a diamond ticket at $50,000. I used to sell a package at about $5,000 at 5K, but I found that the effort and energy taken to do this was way too onerous because I could spend probably about $1,000 to get one of these clients. I can spend maybe about $1,500, maybe $2,000 to get one of these clients. And we'd probably spend about $5,000 to $8,000 getting one of these clients. So they're running at really high profit margins. However, we do have staff and overheads and bills to consider. Now, our businesses have made more than $4.2 million for the last 2 years. So I come from a point of having an understanding of what it takes to sell a high-ticket program or package or service. We've been doing this for many years, and it's obviously improved and evolved. What I'm going to do in this video is distill down all the years that we've been doing this and provide some insight and give you some tools, tips, and strategies to think about as you're creating your high-ticket program. The amount of effort it takes to get one of these clients versus one of these clients is the same. So our preference was to make more profit selling to these clients. Why spend the same amount of effort doing this when you can spend the same amount of effort and get a better quality client? And the same goes down the track. You're selling $15,000, $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 packages, whatever that is. It's far easier to sell to the people that have the money to do this than it is selling lower ticket items. When I started my journey as a coach, my very first coaching program that I sold was $2,500. And at that stage, I was delving into the concept of high ticket coaching programs and how I could create a process for selling high ticket. And I realized straight away how much effort and energy is required. I was totally underselling myself. And so straight away, it wasn't even a few weeks later, we started raising the price. And the clients constantly kept coming in because we were providing so much value. Then at some point, what happened was we understood more in detail our avatar, and the avatar kind of evolved, and we just realized that we had these multiple avatars that were coming down our pipeline. And so we needed to separate them and provide different outcomes for them. And so we then stopped servicing medium ticket clients at 5K. And 5K might seem a lot to some people, but when you put it into context and what I'm going to show you today, you'll understand the dynamic of that. So saying all that, let's get started. Now, high ticket coaching programs, something that you hear a lot of information about, and there's a lot of conflicting ideas around high ticket coaching programs or consulting services. The thing that I've learned over the last few years is that you have to understand these three core components for it to be viable for you to do high ticket coaching program, right? And these are very important key contexts. So one is you have to know your value. You need to understand that you as the person creating the program has the expertise. You have a lot of knowledge that the other person doesn't have. And I see a lot of coaches undervaluing themselves. One of the key reasons for that is imposter syndrome or fear of failure. And if you can get your head around the idea that you're worth so much more as an individual than what you think, and putting ridiculous price points on your time and your expertise, and when you can get confident in that, it helps you create something of awesome value. You have to know your value, and your value needs to be higher than what you even think. When I first started, we worked out in our business what my cost in the business was worth, and it worked out to run about $1,200 an hour. Now that's increased over time, but at the starting point, I was valuing myself at $1,200 per hour, right? It's still a mechanic that we use today to determine value and time and prioritizing and that kind of stuff. But when it comes to creating your package, you need to know your value. You are an expert. You've learned a whole lot of stuff. You're going to help somebody get from one place to the next. You're going to create transformation. Number two is you need to understand that you are not selling steps or training or, you're not providing tools and resources. At the end of the day, there is a path to desire, right? This is the path to you. If a client or an individual or a prospect doesn't have the desire to work with you, if you haven't created that desire, there's absolutely no deal. So you have to understand this path to desire. And I'll talk about this in a second because it's a really important context to selling high ticket programs and services and packages. Nobody ever makes a sale without desire, right? It's just the fundamental fact. And number three, what the biggest things I see all over the place, and even I've bought into programs and they just become so overwhelming that you just wonder why you even spent the money on these things, because all you do when you go into these programs is they fire hose you with all this information thinking that they're doing this amazing job. And when you go into a program or buy into a package and there's overwhelm, it turns people off. Now, no matter how good you think you might be, I will bet $1 million that if you kept this parameter as a front of mind context, you're going to make more money than the next guy, because this is what sells, right? Less is more. When I really got this, everything changed for me in a very dynamic way. I used to have this idea that I could do loads of steps, make it as detailed as possible for people, and that would get me much better results. But when I started looking and breaking things down and getting rid of the stuff that was fluff and made it very simple for people to get from one place to the next, then everything became so much easier to sell because the people were giving better testimonials and the results became easier to get because people were able to dive in and consume the stuff that we were doing and do it in a very simple manner. It's a much better way to create a program at a high ticket level. Less is more. When you understand this concept, when I understood this concept, it was a huge game changer for me and our business. And I live by that every single day. Now, to give you a point in context, our coach launch program and even our real estate coaching is the same thing. We've got the coach launch formula. And in that formula, we've created 3 systems. The first system is about equity. The equity system is super valuable and it's about creating value in your business. Number 2 is a system for building trust. And number 3 is a system for control. These are the core elements of a successful coaching and consulting business. If you're not having success, you're missing out on one of these. It's a very simple flow and process to understand how we're helping our clients get from where they are now to 100K a month. When we talk about equity, we talk about the value, and this training is based entirely around the coaching program. And I'm going to go through this in detail so you understand all the core components. So we help our clients build out these systems so they can get to $100,000 a month and have world-class coaching businesses or consulting businesses. So this is our formula. This is our high ticket or program that we offer to help people build their businesses successfully. So you can see that simplicity is key, less is more, and you can provide huge value in that context. Now, there is a flow that happens. If you want to sell high ticket programs, the path to desire goes like this. And I've seen this across the board. I've studied hundreds and hundreds of funnels and high ticket programs. I've purchased many of them. I can say that without a shadow of a doubt, because I've been on this journey, this is how the process will happen. I think it's well documented and it really makes sense. So your client is going to go on a journey and eventually you're going to make a sale or they're going to become a client. And this is just at the initial phase when you've sold your ticket product. You can upsell and all that other stuff. But the journey starts like this. First of all, you're out there and you have zero trust. No one knows about you. There's no idea of who you are. Then all of a sudden, one day, something happens. Either you have an ad or they've seen a video or they recognize you from a few things. And all of a sudden, there's something that pops in their head and it's curiosity. Curiosity is an interesting beast because if you don't have this curiosity factor in what you're doing, your marketing and the presentations that you do, people won't go down that journey. That's a starting trigger point for everybody that starts doing something. They're doing research. There's a lot of noise and competition and people out there doing stuff. And all of a sudden, one of your items or ads or posts or whatever pops up, and you've created curiosity. It's a fundamental building block to sales. The next part is they're going to go and do some research. They're curious about you. They're going to find out what you've been up to, who you are, what you're doing, maybe watch some of your videos. They're going to start getting to this point where they're now interested, right? Interest is now created. They've gone from curious to being interested. Now, at this point, they've gotten to know you a little bit, but there's still a lot of noise and they're still doing things, researching. Maybe they haven't quite made commitment, or they haven't got to a point where they're decided on whether they're going to press that button to book a session to discuss this with you and take it to that next stage. And so from here, you need to take interest to a point where they can have trust, right? And this, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the key elements that we help our clients with in building successful businesses. Because let's face it, we all understand that trust is at its lowest point right now. And that barrier is a difficult barrier to break through, but it's important. And you can't build trust without having these components in place first, because no one will trust you unless they can see what you've been up to and you have some credibility out there. It's very difficult and expensive to try and drum in and try and create trust without doing these other pieces of the puzzle first. So super important. And then finally, the hugest part, and this is the journey, when you're having that conversation with them, this is where the magic happens, right? When you've got them on your books or you've made the sale, you've created desire. The desire to work with you doesn't happen easily. You have to build up those components. And if you layer them together, you get this amazing thing that happens, and then you can sell high-ticket programs. We do this in our business. It works really well. And when you understand the mechanics of this, when you get to this point, it's so much easier to get them over the line because you've done all this other heavy lifting, and sales doesn't become so onerous. It's more like a conversation and getting to know each other, and then they're like, okay, let's do this. So it's very important to understand that high ticket doesn't just happen automatically by creating a program or a process or a service or a system. It isn't just the only thing, and they all work together symbiotically to create the ultimate end result, and that's for you to get clients and more clients. And you can automate all of this. If you do it the right way, it works very well, and you're going to build a world-class business and get to that $100,000 a month mark a lot easier. Now, when you're selling high-ticket coaching programs, services, packages, whatever, there are the three questions that people will ask when they're going down this journey of trying to figure out who you are and what you're providing, right? Because your package or your program is really the baseline or the core component that sells everything for you. If you've got a good program, you can have good value, you can charge more, and people want that or desire that more, right? So important. And so first things people are going to ask are what it does. What does this thing do? What is it that you do that can help me get over the line? What does that thing do? What is the mechanics of that thing? The next thing they're going to ask is, how will I feel? How will I feel doing this? And then when you understand that there's logic and emotion in the process, they work together to help you get a result, right? What it does and how it makes me feel are the two big things that people are going to feel. Is it going to increase my status? Is it going to make me feel good, feel confident? What is that I'm going to get on it? And what are the mechanics of that to get me there? Then they're going to ask, what's inside? I think this is a very important part of the equation that so many people miss. And I've bought many programs, I've sold many programs, and when people can see what's inside, it makes a huge difference. If you're trying to sell people on something, but you're not showing them what's inside the package or what's inside the container, then it's a really hard sell there. But if you show them these are the ingredients, this is what I'm delivering in this, and this is how you're going to get from A to B, well, then it makes it an easier sell. It creates clarity, right? And clarity is a very, very important component to selling high-ticket programs. And the final thing that people are going to ask is it safe? Is it safe to do this with you, right? How much risk am I putting into working with you and spending this amount of money? And these core questions that come up, cycling around all the time, are the one or more of these questions. So understand that what it does, right? The mechanics of how that thing works, how it's going to make me feel, right? What's inside, that thing that you're providing? And is it safe? Those are the core questions you need to answer as you're going through your journey to creating your high ticket program. Okay, now let's define what high ticket means, right? Now in every industry, there is a different criteria of high ticket. I like to look at it a little bit like this. So there are layers to the industry of high ticket. Now, there are 4 main categories or segments that I believe are where the most profit is in coaching and consulting. And we'll start down the bottom here with wellness, right? Wellness is a very big category, and there is a lot more people wanting to feel well, lose weight, you get fitter, get out of stress, change the way they're dieting, all that kind of stuff. So in this level, high ticket is probably typically around about maybe the $2,000, $2,500 mark, right? That would be considered high ticket, but you can sell more of them because it's easier to sell. There's a much bigger market and there's more opportunity in that. So then you get to the next part, and this is life and mind. Now in this category, you're going to get round about the top of the end of the market is probably going to be about the 3K to 5K mark, thereabouts. So life and mind is all that family related stuff, divorce, mindset, all that kind of stuff. All in that category, I see that the top of the end of the market is about 3 to 5,000K, right? Then you got the performance sector. Performance, right now the space there. Right now performance is your productivity, your sales, your career, that type of stuff. And when you're talking about performance, athletes, that type of stuff, you're getting that top end of the market around about 10K to 15K maybe for that type of program. I see that a lot in this space. So performance gets the higher ticket. And then right at the top here, you got business. And in business, you got enterprise and you got small. Or you got big business, small business. You have categories anywhere from about 20K all the way up to even $100,000 plus packages that you can sell in the space. So you can see that incrementally there is more and more value and more higher ticket stuff you can sell as you're going up the pyramid. Now the complexity of this also changes. So as you get higher and higher and higher up the pyramid, there is more stuff you have to do. There's more experience and expertise you need to deliver on these higher ticket offers, right? So hopefully that makes sense. So if you're in any of these categories, wellness, life and mind, performance, or business, there is a lot of money to be made. It's how you design your packages and understanding what the top end of the high ticket means for you. There is very profitable areas in all 4 of those segments. Now, one thing that I've learned that I think stands out to me as one of the key ingredients to selling high ticket that I see that works really well, and the guys that are doing really good in the space are the ones that I see have this as front of mind, right? And I've talked about this already. It's simplicity. Simplicity sells far easier than a lot of complexity. When you're working with people and they can see that they can attain this thing in a well-designed fashion or manner through going through these basic core principles or steps or pillars, it helps to create that value that you have in your program. And so we have created our program in a way that looks something like this. So we have our formula, we have 3 pillars, right? I talked about those pillars before: equity, trust, and control, right? This is a simple way to go through a journey and get to an end result, right? Which is the 100K per month. Inside of each of these, we've also made it very simple, and we have 4 core pillars. For each of these, we put 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 pieces for each of these pillars that you can dive into. So if you're struggling with anything, if you're struggling with equity, as in trying to create a high ticket coaching program, and you're missing that, well, this is the system that you would do. It'll be an equity system. And then if you're struggling with trust, i.e. getting more clients, then we have a system for that, which is also 4 pillars. And if you're struggling with control, as in the business is driving you into the ground and you haven't got enough time freedom that you would like to have, well, this is the system for you, and we have 4 core pillars. So it's very simple to work through this process that we have to help our clients get results. And this is huge value. I've done this in all of our businesses, and I've created multiple training packages, coaching programs over the years, and this model works really well. So let's go back to what it takes to create a quality program. Now, when you're looking at it, right, and I use the context of this formula bottle because I like the way that the supplement industry has kind of created this idea for me. Now, the reason why I like supplements is I like to work out, I like to train, and I have spent probably far too much money on supplements over the years. And I love the way that the supplement industry has positioned itself. And you can see the products that sell for higher price points versus the products that sell for lower price points and what they do to make it stand out. And so I like to use that as an analogy, and I've built my whole business around this analogy of creating a formula. And when you see how you make a buying decision when you're buying supplements, especially if you're into health and wellness and you prefer to get quality products rather than lower cheap grade products because you're putting them in your system. This is how I developed our system because it helps to understand this and it creates context about creating a high ticket coaching program. And this analogy makes sense to me and it works really well. And if you take this on board, I'm pretty sure it'll help you as well. All right, so you're creating a coaching program, and I like to call it a formula. This is our formula for creating a high ticket coaching program. And when you dive into this, it's really powerful because it leaves you at the end of the day with this very high quality, high value product or coaching program that you can sell for very high ticket prices. Now you can use all kinds of words like method, you can use system, use blueprint, you can use any of those types of context to create your outcome. All of them work really well. The idea of this though is to create something that people look at and can digest and say, well, this is for me, I'm ready to take action. And so as part of the formula, you need a label, right? A label, you need packaging, you need ingredients, and you need a dosage. Each of these have context to the idea of creating a high quality outcome or product or coaching program. And we were going to dive into all of these. When you put these together and you can present something that is of high value, making sure these are all just right, then you're going to have something that you can sell at a really high price point. Now, there is not a lot to this initially. Most of the programs that we initially created, we basically set out the frameworks for what we're doing. And then over time, we're iterating that program and improving on it. The point of it is that if you have something that people want, it's going to be easier to sell, and then you deliver on that result over a period of time. Most people will be in a program. Now we do group programs, we do one-on-one programs, we do all kinds of stuff, but the ultimate idea is that it's all based around the formula that we created, right? So these are the 4 pillars for creating the perfect high-ticket coaching consulting program. Okay, so let's dive into them. First of all, we're going to start with label. The label is the thing that will help them understand your product or service or coaching program in detail, right? It's the who. Who is this for? It's super important as part of the context of creating a coaching program is you want to have it connect to the right types of people. There is no point selling sleeping supplement to somebody that wants a focus supplement. There's no connection, right? So you want to sell to the people or provide value to the people that it matters to. And that's knowing your avatar fundamentally, but having a message that speaks directly to them. Who are you serving? Who is this program for specifically? It's a fundamental baseline building block to creating a high valued coaching program. The next is you need to have the what in the label, right? What does this thing do that I am looking at? Very important, right? And this labeling of your product, right? It's the headline, the hooks, the copy, that type of stuff needs to be very succinct to speak to the right type of person. And what it does is specifically going to help them get over the line. Then the label needs to tell how it's going to happen, right? Super important because this is the very first thing anyone will look at when they're picking up a supplement bottle is the label, right? Does it do what the label says? How is this going to help me get to where I am now to where I want to be? And then finally, when can I expect results? Right? When can I expect results? Instantly, the quicker you can get the results, the better off you are. Now, obviously, in some instances, it takes a long time to get results. But you can break out some ingredients of your formula, program, system, and provide quicker value to people and then get them incrementally going down the path. This is all about getting them from that zero to hero, knowing that when they drink of your magic potion, they're going to get the results they want. They're going to feel better. They're going to act better. They're going to be better. They're going to be recognized, status, all that kind of stuff that comes into it when you're creating. So label is super important. Everything starts with the label because people want to be connected to that thing. The next part of it is a lot of people miss out, and I see this time and time again, and I've bought programs and gone down this journey into the funnel, spoken to salespeople, and there's no clarity about the packaging. And the packaging is how it looks and feels. You feel like there just doesn't seem to be this extra zing that it has. Now, packaging is everything in terms of you go to a supplement store, right? And you look at the shelves and you'll see the products that stand out more, and you read the label, but the packaging really makes a big impact, right? The packaging is what you see, the colors, how it feels, like how it looks. You could have two identical supplements next to each other, and you'll choose the one that has the most appealing packaging that resonates with you. Packaging is everything, and it's a billion-dollar industry. And so I would urge you to be very cautious and mindful about how you create your packaging for your coaching program. And the better the packaging is, the better the results are going to be. It's that simple. I see a lot of people who are doing good packaging, and I can see people that are doing terrible packaging. And there's a lot that goes into packaging. Obviously, it's the colors, the brands, what it looks like, how it feels, all that type of stuff. And so it's really, for me, it's your unique position in the marketplace. That is what your packaging really resonates or stands out. If you get your unique positioning right, you're then creating this huge value that no one can compete with because you have this incredible thing that just really pops, right? Inside of your packaging, how it looks and feels needs to be simple and clear. You look at some packaging of any products and there's a messy packaging, it kind of puts you off. But if you have simple, clear messaging, a simple, clear packaging, and a simple, clear message, then that really creates that value of resonance. So simple and clear sells. This is where your value comes in. You're building equity in your brand, in your business, in your packaging, in your high-ticket coaching program. Then finally, it must be easy to understand. Easy to understand. If you put these in your packaging, then it's the value proposition that you have is super unique and very powerful. You can start making money. And so many people go into the coaching space and consulting space, and they're listening to all this noise and messiness that's out there. And at the end of the day, these are the core components people want to see. And it's a very simple process. And when you create the simplicity, it just makes for a much better experience. And your clients are going to come to you feeling good, knowing they're going to participate, take action, and move through this thing. And then you're going to feel good about it. And then they're going to give you great reviews. There's a lot that goes into packaging. Or when we help our clients, we are very meticulous about how that program will look and feel, because we believe this is a core value proposition, and your product is really everything, right? Your program is everything, and it should really sell itself. When you position it, set it up the right way, you don't have to have these crazy guarantees and stuff that people are doing out there to try and get people moving forward. It makes it so much easier when you do this all the right way. Now, one of the components that we like to teach when we're helping our clients build packaging is that we want you to understand that using the whole idea of simplicity, we've brought it down to these core components. If you utilize shapes in your messaging that are very simple and clear, it really helps to add the value, right? Whether you're doing 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, or you could have, in this instance, you could have a ladder type scenario where you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, or how you can have 4 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are very powerful packaging components when you're designing and creating your coaching programs. Now, the most successful people I see out there and people that I've bought from have this type of clarity. And this is where high ticket really stands out. If you want to set yourself apart, You create a value proposition with packaging that's very simple and helps people understand your model and can get them from A to B without complexity. The number one key to selling high-ticket programs is creating simplicity. Simplicity sells. And time again, I see that the most successful are the ones that have simple processes. Overwhelm doesn't help people. If you want to be successful in the space, remove the overwhelm, and you're going to have a world-class coaching consulting business, and you're going to make the money. Now, what we're going to talk a little bit about ingredients, right? So now you need ingredients. What goes inside it? Your ingredients. This is very important. Now, this is the stuff that people are going to buy into, right? And your ingredients, I'm going to come back to that in a second. Your ingredients really are the pieces of the puzzle that you need to put into this, your formula, your system, your process, that is going to get people, increase that desire for people to want to partake in your coaching program. And these are the things that you're selling, right? The ingredients that you're putting in there. You're putting in clarity, simplicity, confidence, status, recognition, wealth, freedom. Okay, so these are all the ingredients that you are putting into your formula. Now, there's obviously many more. I'm just kind of summarizing here. When you put these inside of your ingredients, inside of your formula, these are very powerful selling tools, right? You're not selling a productivity system. You're selling clarity. You're selling confidence. You're selling time, freedom. Those are the things that you're selling ultimately. And so when you put that value proposition in that context, it really increases the perceived value of your product and raises your equity position. I see so many people trying to sell on the wrong type of component. You're going to make money, you're going to do blah, blah, blah in such amount of time. But at the end of the day, people want the end result. They want to know that if they do this thing, it's going to increase their status. If they do this thing, they're going to have more confidence. They're going to feel better. If they do this thing, they're going to be wealthier. They're going to have freedom. They're going to have more time. Those are the propositions. That's what you're selling. So in your coaching programs, and we go through this as a systematic process to help you find that point that you're selling, what are you actually selling, to give you that total value proposition. And this is where your equity is. Totally, the better you can do this, the more valuable your product will be. So you will create your ingredients, right? So you'll have your process, whatever that looks like. Could be a ladder, could be fence, whatever it is. You can then, all of your ingredients go in here. Now, what I like to see, and I've noticed this quite a bit, is that when the supplement industry, they do really well this one thing. They don't just put ingredients in a bottle and make it look pretty. They don't just make a great label that attracts you and gets you wanting to dive into it. They have a very unique mechanism that they use, branded ingredients. So you're going to have a whole lot of ingredients. These are your steps, the process, the flow, however you want to create it, but it's simple. They have to do this, and they have to do this, and they have to do this, and they have to do this. What makes it super valuable is these branded ingredients, right? And we have multiple branded ingredients in ours, like we have the Alpha Team, we have the Butterfly Funnel. These are very specific, unique methods that we use to get our clients results. But branding your ingredients helps to create that extra layer of perceived value and gives you that perception that this is going to be something that no one else has, and so it's unique, right? You go and look at some of the top performing supplement brands that are out on the market today, selling ingredients, helping you with focus, helping you with sleep, all these types of things. You read at the back, they have got branded ingredients. That's the thing that helps them stand out. Companies have created these ingredients and they brand the ingredients because they make it in a certain way, and that adds more value to that supplement. This is what I highly recommend. It works really well. I see it all the time, and this is how you're going to create that equity position, right? So these are very powerful contexts. I hope you're taking lots of notes, because this is going to help you create that high-ticket coaching program that's going to get you to that next level. Finally, we're going to talk about dosage. And dosage has got a lot of context to it, and your dosage is what people will look at. Is this thing going to be good for me? I like to look at it like this. Buying a supplement, and I look at how much I need to take, what it's going to do for me, all these kind of things. And so this plays a very important role for me. And I want to make sure that when I buy a supplement or I buy into a program or a package, that these are the things that'll stand out for me. Is this the result that I'm going to get achievable, that the bottle is telling me I'm going to get? Do I feel like I can accomplish things? Am I going to sleep better? Am I going to focus more? Am I going to build more muscle? Am I going to get toned? What is this? Does it look achievable? Does it feel achievable for me? The next thing is, how much of this thing do I need to consume? How much do I need to take of this in order for me to have results? Because if I have to spend a lot of energy and effort in consuming this, and it's, I have to have 20 pills to do the thing that I'm looking to achieve, it's probably going to turn me off. I'll go to the one that I have to do less of to get more of, right? And so how much is very important. And there's a fine line of balance when you're delivering on a program and what you need to deliver for people. This plays a very weighted role in the decision-making process. How much am I going to need to take of this thing? How much do you have up there, and what is it going to do to get me to that next thing? I see so many people doing these very, very, very detailed programs, and 99% of the information doesn't get consumed because you only need a small amount of this thing to get from A to B. And so I know, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as somebody that spends money on high-ticket coaching programs, if I have to do too much to get the thing, it literally turns me off. So I don't go down that path. I want something that's going to consume and get results and feel good about what I'm doing. There needs to be a timeline, right? Timeline of this dosage. When am I going to feel results? When is it going to work for me? And when am I going to be partaking in this? Some coaching programs don't align with my location. And so what it means is that I can't just go into any coaching program because the times that they're delivering on their coaching and stuff just doesn't work for me. And so I end up missing out. So I'm very careful when I purchase a program that when it happens is aligned with my availability. That's super important. Then another part of the dosage is, how's this thing going to make me feel? Everybody wants to feel something, right? When they're coming out of the end of this, they want to feel confident. They want to feel like they're getting a result, accomplished, see something happening. And if I feel like this is going to make me feel good at the end of this, I'm going to feel confident, I'm going to feel excited about this thing, then that's making me make a decision. And then finally, one of the big decisions I make, and I think most people will agree, is that I want to know how low is the risk. When I'm dosing on something or I'm buying something and I'm looking at it, I want to know that I feel confident that it's not going to poison me. It's not going to waste my money. It's not going to cost me in any way. So the low risk component is huge. So when you're creating all of this stuff, you're creating your high-ticket coaching program, you're going through all of these pieces of the puzzle, and you're putting this together, and it's not that hard to do if you just follow the steps or the framework that we provide, and you can really get something of super high value that people want to buy into. Okay, so my final thoughts before we end this video, I want to just leave you with this, right? It's super important, and I see people getting so caught up in the nuances of building a coaching program that they never actually get started. They're just spinning their wheels, or they get into this perfectionism state and they want to make everything perfect before they start delivering. And perfectionism and not taking action and not actually getting out there is never going to get you anywhere. It's important that you need to be proactive and just put yourself out there. Over time, you will develop, you will improve, you'll iterate. That's the whole point of it. The main thing you need to do right now is you need to get started, right? Just start. Don't get held up with overwhelm and thinking that no one's going to like what you have to offer. Imposter syndrome is a dangerous beast. Just start. Take action. Do the thing and get moving forward. The journey to having success is a pretty straightforward path, right? You are here and you need to be here, right? Whether you're at 0 or wherever that is you are right now, and you want to be a hero, it really is a straight line. There's nothing complicated about it. You need to make X amount of money, you need to build a certain type of business, you need to do this thing, whatever that amount is, right? If that's $100,000 a month, you need to do that thing. It's straight line from year to year. What happens with most people is they get pulled off with fear of failure, imposter syndrome, and or distraction, right? Fear of failure and distraction are the two killers of success and wealth. And I see this all the time. So just start, but then stay focused. Stay in your game. Stay on your lanes. Keep moving forward in that one direction. If you start pulling off and getting worried about these things and these things are pulling you off your path, recognize them, deal with them, and get back on track. And number 3 is this. You are going to get out of all of this what you put into it, right? What you put in is what you get out. And so If you need to get here, right, if that's your aim, you want to get to that $100,000 a month mark, have this in your mind. What am I going to do to make it happen? What am I going to do to make it happen? This is one of my most favorite sayings that I like to use all the time. It's a mindset parameter. It's a paradigm of thinking that when things are not working out and you're not feeling like you're going to have the results that you want, you need to take a step back and say, well, what am I going to do to make it happen? What am I going to do to make this thing happen? Because if I don't, I'm always going to be stuck here. And in order for me to be there, I need to make something happen. This is one of the most powerful sayings that I've used in my life. It's helped me drive me forward and keep me on path and not let me get distracted and worry about fear of failure. I hope that's been of value to you today. Please, if you haven't yet done so, subscribe to our channel. We want to provide as much value and give you as much free information as we possibly can to help you build a successful world-class coaching business. My name is Matthew White. I'll see you on the other side.